My wife fits that description of being, real hot-blooded. I had not done a very good job of matching that. I let my own insecurities, my own interests get in the way of seeing what her needs were to fulfill that. The other part of it is just, the emotion. I more often than not during our history reacted to it instead of leaning into her and responding or just being curious about it. So those combination of things have got me in a lot of trouble in my relationship. It's unfortunately taken all these years to figure that out.
Let me ask, when the two of you first got together, was she the same? Was her energy the same as it is now? Was it more hot-blooded and more destructress at times?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's evolved over time, but yeah, that's one of the things I fell in love with her about is that she was wild and crazy and unpredictable and just fun to be around. But there was also an emotional roller coaster part of it that to me was very confusing and I couldn't understand. That's evolved over time. We've been together for nearly 30 years. Now I have a better understanding of it. It's interesting. In the last, I don't know how many years, but I became afraid of my wife. I hate to admit it. That's reality. I became afraid of her. There was a lot of shaming that had been going on for years. I made a litany of mistakes during the course of our marriage, but I was constantly reminded of it anytime that there was conflict. There'd be a catalog that would be rolled out of back in 1998, you said this, or
Yeah.
there was never really any sense of forgiveness and willing to move on and start fresh. And I never understood if this was an inability of really being able to forgive or if it's manipulation. I still don't really know. But unfortunately, that became part of our dynamic. And then you throw kids into the mix. And as a man, you want to protect the integrity of the family. That becomes more paramount. And then you start adopting more of the good guy behavior, of, happy wife, happy life. And that doesn't help. That just made things worse.
Yeah, I mean, I can relate to exactly what you just said about all right, starting to please and walk on eggshells. And we think that that's the right thing to do. And that's one reason that the dark destructress or the dark sexuality is just taboo. It doesn't mean that it's wrong or bad, meaning we're not taught about this stuff. We're not taught that a woman wants to be able to pour herself into your container and that she wants you to pervade her in love, even though she's being a destructress right now. I had no idea what that would have even meant. Like, what the hell are you talking about? She's not supposed to be destroying things, right? My expectations are that she stays in line and that we all just take care of ourselves. This egalitarian viewpoint of like, I handle my shit, she handles her shit. But that's not, that's not how a polarized relationship works. I've learned the hard way, and then now I've been teaching professionally for years and years. Yeah, I can relate to what you said, Dan. So let me ask you one more question. If you went backwards in time right now and met the 20-something version of yourself, and you sat down across from him, what would you see within him? Why is he attracting this type of woman into his life? Why is he inspired by her wildness, by her energy, by her spontaneity? What do you think within him is either trying to be fulfilled or was trying to be healed through that challenge?
That's a good question. I found her just beautiful. And at a time in my life when I had been dating girls, she was a woman. She had really lived a life and was interesting and, again, wild and unpredictable. And I was attracted to it. And I'm not exactly sure what I was trying to feel in myself because of that. The other girls I had dated, they fit more the other realm, the more passive, more, what did you say, hot or cold, cold-blooded or at least warm-blooded. So this was entirely new to me. I was very much unprepared for what I got myself into. There's no two ways about it. I did not have the tools. And as time went on, and as she evolved, and as I evolved, my toolbox never matched up to the task that was at hand of being in a relationship with her. I always felt like I was grossly ill prepared. It was so strange because professionally, I'm very successful. I've had a very good career, and socially, I have good relationships with people. But man, in terms of relationship with my wife, it's like a area that I've completely failed in my part. And I'm still trying to grapple with the areas where I've gone wrong. And of course, I made mistakes along the way that have definitely made things worse. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe you have some insight as to why, what I'm trying to fill.
Sure. Well, I think that's a great question for you, even now, of what is the challenge attempting to bring out within me? Because I don't believe in coincidence, and there's our dynamics of when, certainly if you haven't read Way of the Superior Man, it's a little bit more of an advanced book. I recommend it, maybe the 10th book or the 20th book in this field. But we don't know that part of who we are as a man is monstrous and aggressive. We don't know because often it's shamed, it's toxic masculinity, and you're never supposed to be aggressive and all these things, unless you're playing football or playing some other sport or it's a particularly appropriate spot, right? And then it's okay. But otherwise, you shove that shit down, and you're never to bring that out around a woman. And yet she's going to bring out a lot of intensity. So what are you going to do about that at that point? Like, are you just going to hope that she calms down? Or are you just going to like sit quietly? And so what is that challenge bringing out about you? I mean, if there's cultural influences, of course, that's what I was just insinuating. But then what is it about you that wanted to bring this beautiful challenge into your life? That's an internal question that I've thought about, and I think it'd be great for you to consider too.
I was definitely trying to fill something, fill some sort of cup inside of me with that. And I'm not exactly sure what that answer is.
Yeah,
I should probably figure out the answer so I don't, get myself into something that I'm not prepared for in the future. But
yeah, that's a great point as well. And you can just think about yourself now, and it will by definition be unconscious. So yeah, it's something to consider on, think about, journal about when you're out for a walk. Consider, well, how is this challenge now bringing wisdom into myself? And then consider back to when you were younger. It's an interesting thought.
it is.